So here I am on a boat on a tropical island in the middle of nowhere. You'd think this was paradise. Warm waters, tourists in Hawaiian shirts, pina coladas, flip-flops, a little Jimmy Buffett in the background. Wasting away in Margaritaville. Except this boat isn't mine. Well, technically it is mine, as in possession being 9/10 of the law. In fact, I have 5 boats. For the life of me, I can't get any of them to work. On a normal day, I would just go down to the local hardware store and pick up the necessary tools to make them work. Except this island is not paradise. There are no pina coladas, and the locals aren't what you would call friendly. In fact, if we're being perfectly honest, they're pretty damn hostile. My name is Syph Hargrove, although I'm thinking of changing my name to McBoaty Boatface if I ever get these boats running. And I've been on this blasted island for a month now. In a past life, I was just your friendly neighborhood burglar, burgling things, only now there seems no one left to burgle. Just hostile locals. So what's a boy to do when life throws the entire world a curveball? When you're possibly the last man standing on an island in the middle of nowhere. When all around you are bodies of the deceased or soon to be deceased, their cars and clothes and things that seem so important to them just a short time earlier. Some people panic, hide themselves in a room, hoard food and guns and toilet paper. But me? I collect boats. So I woke up in an empty house, groggy, slightly hungover, and wondering how the hell I got here. That was a month ago. There were occasional sounds of house alarms going off. The air tasted like old smoke, which I would soon find out was because a house next door had burnt down. My first encounter with the dead was right outside this house. Weaponless, I used my savvy to dispose of it. These things were stupid and slow, and using my environment made for a quick dispatch. Foot meet zombie head. Alright, so first problem, no weapons. If I met more than a couple of these guys, I would surely be in a pickle, so I decided to forage a bit. Couple sheets, couple stones, a few branches later, we had ourselves a hammer, a couple stone knives, and now we're cooking with gas. One of the things I wasn't quite prepared for was the vast amounts of these things. It seemed like no matter where I went, they were there. Relentless in their pursuit, I ducked around a corner only to find more. Felt like I was a gatherer of dead things. They were everywhere. There was no reprieve. The only way to stop them was to kill them. I started to worry about what would happen when night came. Where would I sleep? Perhaps a closet in a school? Maybe a portable potty? Maybe I'd head back to the abandoned house. All I knew was I was getting late. My senses were dulling by the minute. I was hungry, thirsty, tired, anxious, and alone. I found a station wagon. It wasn't much, but I figured if I stayed out of sight, I could get a little sleep. And I was only interrupted once that night. Has it been just a day? Because my hunger is making me do things that don't seem rational. Like taking on a gaggle of these things just so I can take a peek at the kitchen just beyond them. If I can just pick them off one by one. I'm imagining a big hunk of steak, a cheeseburger, pepperoni pizza, or chocolate eclair. It's driving my choices. I have an ambition to eat all the things beyond those doors. It will even make the scratches worth the stretch of uncertainty as to whether it will turn me. I take a drink of water, start rummaging through the shelves. Rotten pie slices. That's it. Step 2. Once you have procured a weapon, find food. The only problem is everyone that is still alive is hunting for the same thing as you are. Luckily, I found a bit of food in the back storage room of the grocery store next door. This will have to do for now. Still, the echoes in this building have got my senses on edge. Every little noise sets me off. I'm constantly looking over my shoulder for what could come. Step 4, find a car. So I boosted a car from the local police station, and aside from the dead, the station was empty. But still, the car made me feel safe, almost normal. I started to think about an exit plan. The problem? I'm on an island. There's only so much space I can walk or drive before I run out of real estate. And with the power out, there's only so much gas I can find before I'm walking again. Kingsmouth is separated into 3 distinct zones. You have your local residential area in the middle. These are the folks that are here year-round. You have your military zone to the northwest of the island. And then you have your tourist area, which essentially doubles or triples the population during peak vacation season. Now, if this had happened in the winter, there'd have been a tiny fraction of the population here. But it's June, July, so I don't know what I was thinking heading south. Maybe I was thinking that the larger the population, the better the chances of me running into someone. And running into someone I did. The dead surrounded the car. I thought about turning back, but to what avail? They were everywhere. You drive far enough on an island and you end up running out of real estate. And I drove myself right into a dead end. The towering Kingsmouth lighthouse was built in the late 1700s, supposedly by the Illuminati, not only to guide ships into safe harbor, but also to make a clear and powerful statement. The Illuminati had claimed North America as its own. It was said to contain many secrets: Egyptian sigils, Illuminati tomes, even a massive light bulb created by Thomas Edison that had the power to destroy ships hundreds of miles away. I'm reading from a travel guide, by the way, so take it for what it's worth. It has since been renovated into what it is today, a winding 4-story tower of a home where each level houses a single room. And as I figure out how to get out of this mess, it's going to be home for now. I could look at my current situation in one of two ways. One, that I'm cornered, whereas on one side the crystal blue waters, and on the other wave after wave of the dead coming after me. Or I could look at it this way. I'm not surrounded, thanks largely to the fact that I have the river to my back. Personally, I prefer the latter and want to believe that with enough grit and moxie I can bulldog my way out of here. Because I see it like an elegant dance. The dead push forward, gain a bit of ground. I push back, gain that ground back. There were a couple times where I was overwhelmed, and a few times where I overwhelmed them. Each day that passed was another day alive. And each day alive, I was becoming a bit stronger. That feeling of being in control of the outcome, the confidence that I could indeed outlast the dead. Carve out a section that would be safe while I figure out how to get off this island. Maybe the rest of the world wouldn't be like Kingsmouth. Or if it was, maybe there would be others. I had a new problem. My afternoon was interrupted by the sounds of a helicopter. First it was far away, then slowly inching its way closer to my location, finally hovering right above me. Was this a rescue mission? Should I stay put and wait? Looking up, I couldn't tell. What I could see was the sounds of the helicopter was pulling in groups of the dead. I wouldn't last long here. I decided my best bet was to drive to a spot of the island that was less populated. Perhaps the helicopter would follow me. Perhaps. I thought how weird it must be to be in that helicopter looking down on this lone police cruiser, pushing through hordes of zombies as it made its way through town. The helicopter made me hopeful. It verified that I wasn't alone. That somewhere there may be a group out there alive and with supplies. Perhaps even a large group. Or perhaps the mainland isn't affected at all. Perhaps this helicopter was looking for survivors. I parked the police car in full view, hoping that they would recognize it. I played the scenario of it landing, scooping me up, jettisoning me to safety. But the helicopter didn't return that day, or the next. But I elected to stay close to here, though, in the off chance it would. In the meantime, I spent my days reading books. I even found some seeds laying around and planted potatoes. Who knows if they're gonna grow? And of course, I cleared my area of any zombies that crossed my path, all the while keeping my ear to the ground for the sound of some sort of rescue. The first boat I found was a sailboat. The previous owner was nice enough to leave a key for me. La Brigadine is what he named it, conveniently loaded on a trailer and just waiting for some landlocked schmuck like myself to claim. Now, I had no experience sailing, but really, how hard could it be? Plus, if all else failed, I could use its engine, right? Well, the sailing was a bust. I couldn't even get it out of the cove. And to make matters worse, the engine was busted, the battery dead. The day was a complete waste. The second boat I found was a fisherman's boat, no sails, all engine. If I could get her running, it would be like driving a car. Only this time I didn't have a key, and the cabin had a door that seemed impossible to break into. 2 boats, one busted up, one locked up tight. Escape felt so close yet so far away. I would have to figure out a way to break through that cabin door if I was going to escape. Of course, I already knew the solution. It was just a matter of finding it. I needed a crowbar. Which meant I needed to go on a hunt, which ultimately guaranteed encounters. Now I'd become quite proficient with knives. I figured out that a well-placed strike into the eye of these things would permanently disable them. And the more I killed, the more I started musing the idea of making this my permanent home. I mean, how many could there be? And who wouldn't want a tropical island all to themselves? Being able to bask in the sun, waves crashing on the shore. I mean, it's not the craziest idea in the world. Plus, if I could get the boat running, I could still hit the mainland for any survivors. Bring them back here. We could start a country. I could be the leader. No, that's not a crazy idea at all. After killing so many, maybe I can make this island 100% free of these things. Of course, I wouldn't want to be alone. A companion or 2 or 3 would be nice. Stay focused, Syfy. There has to be a crowbar somewhere on this island. Well, I found it. Busted through the cabin door, filled her up with gas, and she started right up. And now we're headed out back to the mainland. Now I'm not sure what we'll find there. Perhaps survivors? Hell, perhaps the world is carried on as if nothing happened. Or maybe I'm the last man on Earth. Who knows?